What's up, y'all? We got to play some Kamala. How y'all feeling on this Thursday afternoon, morning for some? West Coast, y'all still in the morning. On the East Coast, we in the afternoon now. I told y'all we gonna come back when we got some seasoning, some flavor to give y'all. If you haven't been paying attention, Kamala Harris has been going off the handles. If you haven't noticed, the difference between Kamala and Donald Trump is the difference in their interviews and the distance, the duration of their interviews, and their composure during their interviews. Like Trump will handle a bunch of questions like a man. He'll be cool, calm, don't bother him as they attack him. He's kind of used to it. Kamala, on the other hand, as we're going to play here, Kamala, on the other hand, ooh, she had a meltdown. It even got me questioning. She actually might be black. The way she melted down. The way she melted down. Let's get this. I got to get this on the board here for y'all. Find this video. Done. All right, we got it on the board here. Why does it say my live stream's not live? That's weird. Okay, there we go. Making sure we're good. There we go. Kamala Harris has a meltdown. She was on Fox News here, which y'all about to see. Ready to play some of this. Watch as she has her meltdown.
Madam Vice President, thank you for the time.
Thank you. It's good to be with you, Brett.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have, and you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you
now,
just a
which
number?
is-
Do you
but-
think it's
but-
1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your
And-
Homeland Security Secretary said that
But
85%
I'm
of
not
apprehensions.
finished. I'm not finished. We have
It's a
an
rough
immigration
estimate of
system
6 million people
that
have
needs
been
to be-
released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed.
She wasn't answering the question. She was trying to change the question to dictate the conversation. Y'all pay attention. I know y'all got brains.
Number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress before
She drink too
we
much.
worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the CHIPS and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called
And-
the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the. Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding,
But
please?
here, but this.
You're not about to correct me, sir. You're not about to correct me. I'm about to dictate. I'm starting to believe she actually got black in her. You're starting to see it all here. You're starting to see it. I'll explain it later. Watch when I break this bitch down.
You have to let me finish.
You
please.
had the White House and the House and the Senate,
I'm
and
in
they
the
didn't
middle
bring up
of
that bill.
responding to the point you're raising,
Okay.
and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognize
She's trying that I'm a black woman and I said so tactic.
from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a
The spit going down her goddamn throat while she lying is telling her she full of shit. It probably tastes like doo-doo. This motherfucker is lying. I said it the other day. As soon as one of these Democrats speak out of their fucking mouth, all you hear is hiss, 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 hiss. Fucking snake.
Bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
Six Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you,
but actually is focused on fixing it.
6 Democrats voted against that bill. It would have.
She said focus on fixing it. On the other hand, she just said, I could show you another interview where she said that she will not stop any human being trying to cross the border, trying to seek, as she claims, safety and all this other bullshit. Soon as liberals open up their mouth, they lie. And she's trying this I'm black and I said so bullshit because now she's got some of these bald-headed bitches backing her up, repeating, marking the same fucking thing. And when I look at it, it's the same dynamic that they're trying to do with black men with this whole, you know, with the what's it called, the manosphere situation right now, and black and men going their own way. It's the same mentality they're trying to use on men on them now. Well, just listen to us. So just listen. They don't have to make sense. They just want to fucking whine. And if you don't, you must be a sellout because you're not listening. You disrespecting your grandmother. Even though it don't make fucking sense. But to these fucking whores, it makes fucking sense. And I keep telling you niggas, I've been telling y'all for the dumbest time. A lot of y'all be wondering why y'all life is so fucking miserable. Look at some of the dumb bitches that y'all bred with. I'm about to no holds bar up in this motherfucker and go back to the old zone. See, a lot of things that are happening now, we forewarned you 10 years ago. We was well ahead of the steps of what's popular now. This is the results of niggas who don't listen. This are the results of keep opening up the doors for bitches who don't deserve the door to be opened up to. Y'all kept listening to these hard-headed bitches. Now these bitches got motherfucking popular platforms up on here now. The only reason why they do, because now it's a fucking robot zone. They're breeding these dumb bitches by the college, by the HBCs and all these other fucking colleges. Now these bitches think they're fucking qualified to speak because they got an education. And all that these universities done now is made a bunch of emotional fucking dummies. I've seen more intelligent people out there in the streets than I've seen come out of these fucking classrooms. I see more educational people come out of the jail cells than the motherfuckers coming out of these fucking HBCUs. You motherfuckers is dumb as rocks. You tell these motherfuckers 1 + 1, these motherfuckers start telling you about your mama. Your mama black. Fucking idiots. And these platforms ain't did nothing but give them air in they fucking balloons. Because ain't nothing to airheads. All of them. Now let me get back to this interview here. Because this is like, when you watch this Kamala Harris, she is like the senior robot of what you're seeing now of these dumb bitches that think because they got an education that niggas want to hear them. Do you know the only people that want to hear it? Let me tell you the only people who want to hear them. Dumb bitches like them and gay men. And niggas, they already got their balls chopped off. Like the motherfucking, them foreign niggas that come over here with polo shirts and plaid pants and shit don't, you get what I'm saying. But let's get back into this interview here. She dropped the ball on this big time. As you notice, she's not answering any fucking questions. She's trying to dictate the answers and the questions to the interviewer. And for those that are not aware, this was originally supposed to be a 30-minute interview, which got chopped down to her being late. And then they also rushed her out, so they didn't even get the full 30 minutes. And you'll notice as you'll watch this that he was being rushed as well. So he was trying to get out what he could.
We've allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday, campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country.
She's still gonna blame Trump. Listen, you heard what he said before. He explained it. Trying to make them accountable. Listen.
So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There's no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a...
What? Did she answer the fucking question? Ditzy bitch, ditzy bitch, ditzy bitch. This is all we get is ditzy bitch. Listen to this ditzy bitch. And y'all sit around proudly sealing for this ditzy bitch.
Problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Brett.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungari's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early...
Now this is facts. What she'll do is try to blame Trump. And she already said in a video prior to this that she doesn't turn down immigrants. Okay? She said it. She said no matter what, it's unhuman. Huh? And I keep trying to tell you, stupid motherfuckers, that just agree with this stupid shit. You know how many people around and from North America would just love to travel the world and just be allowed in fucking places? Oh, well, we're better than that. Nigga, suck balls. Stop the bullshit. Just let everybody the fucking. This just goes to show that we're living with a lot of the population with a mental fucking illness. They don't care what makes sense. They don't care what's actually right. It's this weird fucking. They're like NPCs. Do you know what an NPC is? Non-playable character? Except for it's like non-personality characters, some weird shit. They lack reasoning. They lack a soul. They lack the thought to think for themselves, to have any fucking sense. Just idiots. Let's finish this dumb. You even look at her, lifeless. And I'm starting to wonder. Remember that old movie, The Manchurian Candidate? Came out like 02, I think 2002. Something's off about this bitch. And another thing, something's starting to be, I really starting to think they're really starting to Manchurian Candidate with a lot of them. Something's off with these motherfuckers. How do they claim to have such great experience with people? I have great experience with people. I can think. These motherfuckers can't think. These are closeted motherfuckers who pretend they do photo ops and things and make you believe they talk to people. You can tell they don't talk to motherfucking people on the regular by the way they carry themselves and how they respond, talk, and fucking think. These ain't nothing but sheltered fucking children, probably even touched at some point in their fucking life. These are, fuck out of here. Talking about, I'm in the middle class, I relate to y'all. No, you don't. How do you relate to us, bitch? You don't relate to us? Fuck out of here. Let's get back to this shit before I continue ranting and raving. Because I can't stand this ditzy bitch. She ditzy.
Days. So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I'm so sorry for her loss. Sincerely.
No, you're not.
But let's talk about what is happening right now with...
You just hear what she just said? I'm so sorry for her loss. I'm so sorry. I really am. But let's talk about what's happening right. Y'all do not see this shit. But we're gonna have a bunch of these little, what's that little bald-headed bitch, Joy, whatever the fuck her name is. Gonna have a bunch of these little stupid bitches run on here, sealing for this fucking idiot, trying to claim, oh, black men blame black men. Black men just hate women. We just hate women. So we hate the women that we're raising. This is why we don't like fucking with bitches like y'all. You know how we got our own movements and things, and we don't even like conversing with y'all. You're a waste of our time. We can reproduce, live happy lives, and do a whole bunch of shit. I'm proof of this. Without ever having to listen to one of you bitches at all. At all. We're living proof of this shit and be happy as fuck. The only difference is we so much give a fuck about our people and our culture because when we raise our kids, it's a community thing. It's just what it is, right? So what we do, we like to reach back and go, hey, bro, wake up, bro. Them bitches is keeping y'all trapped in jail, eh? This is why they love their jailbirds. It's why y'all got to stop paying attention. What, my food ready? Yeah, just give it to me real quick. Just put it here. Oh, what's the name? Thanks. Listen, the more you pay attention to the behavior of the motherfuckers who got you at your self-destruction, a lot of niggas will be in denial because a lot of one thing, a lot of black men are defeated. A lot of black men think they can't leave their box, right? Because they get pulled in, or you always gonna have to come back to us. You leaves, and when the white girl gets you, you always gonna have to come back to us. You leaves, you always gonna have to come back to us. They always pull that shit on. So niggas get stuck in this box and thinking that they can't make it on themselves. You don't even need white motherfuckers. You can just do what the fuck. You don't need to listen to none of these motherfuckers, right? So they try to they trap a lot of black males because a lot of black males trap themselves in the young ages, getting young and dumb charges to where they box themselves in and they limit to themselves, right? But anyway, let me stop rumbling, rambling, and let this retarded bitch continue scorching herself, because I could go on for goddamn days of why our community is so fucked up.
An individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well.
But do you want to answer
in all fairness, I told you I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration even before. Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be.
So, she trashes Trump for trying to fix it. Then when they go into administration, they fuck up and they disregard every fucking thing that Trump made, right? There's an old video, 2021. I can't remember the year it was exactly. But anyway, as soon as they went into office, basically, they got rid of all that border shit that Trump was trying to do. They rescinded, there's a video of it, they rescinded all Trump's border protection bullshit, right? That he was trying to cover. But again, when it comes to these motherfuckers, you can't bring up what just happened. You can't be like, hey, you just said 1 + 1 = 2. No, they try to dictate and tell you, and then tell you, oh, but that's not the whole. These are fucking tyrants and liars.
Fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure you probably, I know you investigate and you are a serious journalist. They will tell you, we need more judges. We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that's going to get fixed, Brad. Well, that's how this system works.
That's the premise of this question. There were 90+ executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because...
Didn't I just say that? He just said what I said. Trump's policies were rescinded in the first 90 days. Rewind it back for you.
Well,
that's how this system works.
That's the premise of this question. There were 90+ executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get it. They want support. They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
They're working around the clock. They work hard. In one hand, she's saying this. The other hand, she's saying, I will never stop none of the immigrants trying to come over.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case,
what?
You chose a running mate, Tim Walz.
Hold on, what's that? What?
Still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
So decriminalizing border crossings, like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as Vice President. I will not do that as President.
So these are evolutions that you've had.
But let's be very clear. I'm the only person who's running for President who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations, from the Sinaloa cartel to the Guadalajara cartel to people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people and cross our border with the intent of doing us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president. I take that work quite seriously.
This is a time when voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads.
Hey, y'all know who Kamala Harris remind me of? Jaguar Wright. She was everywhere. She was everywhere, just like Jaguar Wright was. This girl full of shit, man.
Just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender
What?
inmate in the prisons.
Motherfucker in jail. That's the last thing they should be thinking about. You know what? I'm locked up. I want to change my penis. Come on, man. Let's be for real.
System would have access.
So, are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law, and it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition surgeries
you know what, you
happened
take
during his
responsible for what
his
happened
presidency.
in your administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in his presidency.
It's in
So
black and white.
would you still
Y'all cut that shit. She tried to cut you off. It's under anyway. It's under. She got caught lying. Yo. Kamala is a horrible. If she can't do interviews like this, how do y'all expect her to have conversations with world leaders like this? She gonna be cutting off the world leaders, not making sense. Listen. They're trying to use the excuse of the reason why people aren't voting with her is because of her being a woman. Meanwhile, she's actually being the fucking she's actually being the stereotype. She's being the stereotype. They were better off getting Candace Owens to run for fucking president. I'm just saying. Because I believe Candace could have held her own in the conversation compared to this. She is the stereotype, and that's why they're trying to get mad at you for calling out the fucking stereotype.
advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment
I will
surgeries?
follow the law, just as I
But you have a
think
say
Donald
in
Trump would
this.
say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's he spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas, at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, it's really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though.
They say
On
it was
plans for
different,
the
but let's-
American
we'll
people,
move on.
I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan to deal with what we need to do to strengthen small businesses, which are the backbone of America's economy. I am offering a plan that is about
Which is the backbone of America's economy. These bitches just repeat the same thing. We know this. Just talk like a normal human being.
taking care of young parents and giving them the support they need. My
Fuck
plans
these
for the
people are
economy
stupid.
will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates Goldman Sachs, Moody's, and recently the Wall Street Journal, which have all studied our plans and have indicated my plans for our economy would strengthen our economy, his would make them weaker,
Why do you
would
think more
ignite
people
inflation
say,
and invite a recession by the middle of next year? Those are the facts.
Why do you think
those
more
are the
people say
facts.
they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as President of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the type.
Who do you think's being divisive? The woman who can't talk without bringing up something divisive, the woman who can't talk without dividing, the person who can't talk, who can't get Obama and all the leftists who can't talk without being divisive and calling other people names. Think about it. Yeah, it's time to turn the page. It's time to turn the page. That's what the American people want. This is a retard. She didn't ask us what we want. This is why she's being ignored by black men now. And I'm glad I'm starting to see it spike up in black women too. Thank you. This motherfucker talking about turn the page. Because all she's doing is giving you emptiness. Just filler bullshit. Just keep telling them we go turn the page. So then that way when they get mad, you can be like, we got positive energy in here. We're turning the page here. We don't have, time for that negative divisiveness. This ain't nothing but that new generation purple, pink-haired bullshit LGBT dialect. Pay attention to this shit.
Of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way forward, and they want a president who has a plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be, again, to give tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country and blow up our deficit.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be, and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So, you're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear. My presidency will not.
And as other people have pointed out, for those who may have watched or may watch this in the future, those earrings, if you're wondering why she's wearing those same earrings every interview, those are the communication earrings. They're not real earrings. They're feeding her through her earrings. That's why it's always the same earrings.
Not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And like every new president that comes in to office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. I, for example, am someone who has not spent the majority of my career in Washington, D.C. I invite ideas, whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, who were just on stage with me minutes ago, and the business sector, and others who can contribute to the decisions that I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing in America and bringing down the cost of housing, addressing the issue of small businesses, which is about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders, including my plan for a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and for small businesses, extending the tax deduction from $5,000 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot about those plans in recent days. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years, so what are you turning the page from?
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade.
What?
In which
So the last decade includes you. This bitch retarded. See, she's trying to still point at Trump, even though he's saying turning the page. The last few years have been you. So basically, hey, dumb bitch, are you turning the page on yourself? See, remember when I said we gonna get to this is going to black women territory? She is black. She do not whatsoever want to be held accountable. She gotta make the man accountable, huh? She don't want to be accountable. We gotta turn the page, okay? We're just gonna keep turning the pages.
You've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other. Rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know.
But you're doing that right now. You, Obama, and the rest of them, all the liberals, all the liberalism, all y'all doing right now. Listen, if it gets close to Donald Trump, and y'all know most motherfucking them people, and especially in America, they care anyway. So y'all go ahead and go do what they gonna hype y'all up to do. When Trump wins by a landslide, y'all gonna go out there. They gonna go out there and go try to beat up the rears who they think voted for Trump. You gonna see it, right? Or try to attack them. And somebody gonna get the issue, right? Somebody gonna get their issue, and then they gonna try to go, oh, see, we told y'all Trump people are racist. See, they shot this the black person or something. Watch, they are going to stage several, I believe, several events over the next, what we got, the next month. Yeah, I expect a lot here. These motherfuckers are desperate demons.
The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up. The strength of an American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
Madam
That
Vice
is
President, more than
turning the
70%
page.
of people
That is
tell
about
pollsters,
turning the page on rhetoric that people are frankly exhausted
Y'all want to hear this again? I'm black woman, I said so. Y'all want to hear black woman, I said so again? We're going to turn the page.
You've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other. Rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up. The strength of an American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority...
She tried to quote Maya Angelou. She tried, let me just, come on, let's get this work. Come on, let it work.
of us have more in common than what separates us.
No, we don't.
That is turning the page.
No, we don't.
That is about turning the page on rhetoric.
You know what's beautiful about the word come dummy? You know what's so beautiful about the world? Individuality. We ain't got as much in common as we have. We don't. Okay? There's some motherfuckers who culturally stink. There's some motherfuckers who are culturally ashy. There's some motherfuckers that are culturally with their hairlines back. There's some motherfuckers that culturally don't wear deodorant. There's some motherfuckers culturally just do things differently. We ain't got that much in common. The only thing we got in common is eat, shit, sleep. A motherfucker that work at Applebee's ain't got nothing in common with a motherfucking Navy SEAL. Nothing in common besides eat, shit, and sleep. A motherfucking police officer ain't got nothing in common with a motherfucking crackhead besides eat, shit, and sleep. The fuck you talking about? But this is just blanketed bullshit. So when you try to make sense, they try to tell you, well, we're not going to make sense around here because that's being divisive. We just going to turn the page. You want this as a fucking leader? Do you not know this is why we have a lot of illogical black men running around? This is the voice of the house that black men be raised in. It ain't gotta make sense. Just listen to me, cause I'm black woman and I fucking said so. And don't you dare disrespect me, because then we gonna do the shaming. These bitches, hey, I told y'all, what you seeing now is awakening for all the work we put in on YouTube over the past 10, 15 years. Ta-da! Ta-da! Deal with it, bitches.
frankly, exhausted of Brett.
More than
People are
70% of
exhausted.
people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
What?
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
What? What? She can't wait to get home and hit a shot. Shot. She can't wait to get home and hit a goddamn shot. Hey, Donald Trump has been running for 10 years. What? Hey, for any dumb CEO that may see this now or in the future and think she made sense, but she ain't made not one sense. What?
Of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last...
But they said, actually, I don't know what you're talking about. Props to that brother for actually cutting this dumb bitch off with that shit. Man, this is a lesson what he just did. When you got a dumb bitch just babbling and doing this shit, what you gotta do is a man, you gotta zip up your pants, grab your balls, pump up your chest, and be like, nah, bitch, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Explain yourself. You be like that old school song. Express yourself. To do that, hit them with the oh yeah, do that, all that. Doom, boom, if you have to, just to make the bitch laugh. But the point of the matter is, make these bitches feel accountable. See what they're trying to get away with and what they want to get away with by pushing her forward and turning the page. All these irresponsible, unaccountable bitches, they want her to be the leader now so they can be extra unaccountable. Mark my words.
Last decade,
But
people
you're the
have
lever of
become...
power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump, the former defense secretaries, national security advisor, and his vice president. One, that he is unfit to serve, that he is unstable, that he is dangerous, and that people are exhausted with someone who professes to be a leader who spends full time.
The polls say we're not exhausted of Donald Trump. Do you know what I'm saying? She don't even make sense. She's just trying to tell you. Just it. Nothing what she says is true. The people are exhausted. Not by the polls. The polls right now look like he putting foot up in your doo-doo. Just wow. But you keep listening to these dumb bitches. This is ignorance.
I'm demeaning and engaging in personal grievances and it being about him instead of the American people. People are tired of that.
If that's the case, why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad?
Foot up in her badoo-doo. That's facts. Go check the early polls. I'm talking about, look, Donald Trump got one of these down on her. Remember that? The jump beat down? Donald Trump them doing this right now on Kamala. Kamala ain't got nothing on Trump right now. Kamala just embarrassing herself, running the shows, trying to pull people out, and shout out, I gotta give him flowers because I've dissed him in the past. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith for calling out Barack Obama. I gotta give him props for that shit. Because number one, I didn't expect him out of all fucking people to do it. I'm gonna play that afterwards. After this.
And as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States. Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for everyone. So are they misguided,
the 50%? Are they stupid?
What is it? I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the...
Hey, Dumbo. You know why? because there is an enemy within, and you're a part of it. This is why the majority of Americans, the ones that you think you're in contact with, this is why the majority of Americans are on Donald Trump's side. Because within the last few years, all the ones that we couldn't wake up woke the fuck up. That old vid shit that y'all planted in 2020, that woke up the rest of the people that were sleeping. Now, there's still quite a little bit more, and it's going to take till damn near death for them. Because y'all got to understand, we do have a large population of, like, low IQ people. They're not intelligent. But what happened with the vid is all those people some of those people who they did have on their side, you could hear them slowly wake up, and they started researching different things for themselves. And over the last 4 years, yeah, now you got more folks on our side. So yeah, again, like I said,
American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today, at town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest man. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
also want you to, some people, I just hate the way Trump looks. Listen to him. I don't eat fruit salads. So I actually don't care how Donald Trump looks. That's not what, you get what I'm saying? Listen, that man can talk, and he may say things that come off to you differently than other people and rub you wrong differently than other people, but he can still verbalize himself properly. He doesn't need a prompter. He doesn't need no fucking motherfucker telling him what to say, and that's why he comes off raw, because it's him. This is WWE. Choreographed. Told how to talk, what to say. The answers are pre-screened before she even answers them. But y'all, man, listen, man. Y'all gonna be crazy.
I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
He was asked.
She gonna cry.
No, that's not what you just showed.
She gonna cry.
I'm telling you, that was the question that we asked him.
He didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he is.
I'm black woman, and I said so. See, you and I both know that. Even though he's explaining and showing her the actual factual. No. See, I'm black woman, and I said so. I'm a liberal, and I said so. Listen to this bullshit. And you know she's lying? Because she's getting emotional. This is what the liberals do. If you want emotional motherfuckers like this to run your country, go ahead, Seal.
People, that's not what you just showed.
He was asked about that specific.
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you,
that was the question that we asked him.
He didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people.
When?
He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they did.
You mean like the liberals have for COVID? We can say that now, right? Are they still banning us for this word now in 2024?
Disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat.
Said a president that should be able to handle criticism. Has this man been going to trial for the last umpteen? That's all he's done is handle criticism. You can't even handle a couple questions on Fox News. go ahead and put this woman in power. This is how bad those, because I don't want to be divisive. I don't want to be divisive because this ain't for all black women. This is for, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Bitter, educated, bitter black bitches, just to keep it short. This is who they're hoping to have in power, so it justifies their whole independency being stubborn and fucking stupid and ignorant. That's all this whole want her in presidency is about, because otherwise everybody with a goddamn brain knows this bitch ain't fit. She ain't fit.
To the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask you this, Madam Vice President. You call Donald Trump. You call Donald Trump. He's misguided. You say now he's unstable.
He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well.
You sound unstable right now.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, and he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
but
is.
You talked about it.
And Donald Trump
after George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people.
Black women should be insulted that they threw her up and got her leading them. There's way. You got better candidates than this. You got smarter, intelligent black women y'all need to actually get behind. This ain't it. This ain't it.
People have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including leaders of our national security community, have all spoken out. Even people who worked for him in the Oval Office, worked with him in the Situation Room, and have said he is unfit and dangerous and should never be president of the United States again, including his former vice president, which is why the job was open.
Every question is flipped to Donald Trump. She's not accountable for anything. She doesn't answer any questions. We're turning the page. Huh? We're turning the page. We're changing the narratives. Donald Trump's the bad, evil guy. Let's not talk about me.
For him to choose another running mate. So that is a fact. That is a fact.
Madam Vice President, 2 more things.
And one more thing before I continue playing this. Watch his composure, her composure. You know why his composure is so cool? He knows that he's shooting himself in the foot. He knows he ain't got a trip. He's intelligent enough to know that the majority of people will watch this and go, wow, she ignorant.
You were asked on 60 Minutes about the biggest threat that the world faces, that the U.S. faces. This is what you said.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands, okay? This attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
A number of experts thought you would say China. The FBI director had said that. But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the #1 threat?
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, in the several hours on each occasion that Iran posed a threat to Israel.
What?
I was there.
Were you? I told you she's Jaguar right. She was there.
Recently in the Situation Room in the most recent attack, working with the heads of our military and doing what America must always do to defend and to support Israel in its requirement to defend itself, and to give American support to be able to allow Israel to have the resources to defend itself against attack, including from Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
And that
But those
is,
proxies were getting
and
funded
my
by Iran.
commitment to that is unyielding and unwavering.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions
Let's
in
go back to
oil
Donald
profits.
Trump,
Hold on.
Contradicting herself and saying her commitment is unwavering and unwelding. I just say things, well, actually, I'm doing the other. Y'all wonder why the countries have gone broke.
Who pulled out of a deal that would have actually put
But here are
Iran in check.
the estimates
and
in
then
billions
it was during Donald Trump's
that go
administration
towards the
that
Iran
Blame Trump.
regime.
that we had an American military base that was attacked, where American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches. Not to mention how Donald Trump
all of this money
has treated
that
and
has
talked
gone
about
in the
America's
past few
military
years.
and military service people,
Critics
calling
say
them
that it goes to
suckers and
Hezbollah,
losers,
Hamas,
has diminished
and
the
Houthis. We're
significance.
talking over each other. I apologize.
I would like that we would have a conversation.
This is y'all want to be president. Y'all not paying attention to this? Boy, she is the stereotype of what people talk about with y'all. But y'all want to sit here and act like we just making shit up? Man, listen.
That is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran, I am offering what should be an important contrast that is presented for folks to make a decision
And there are critics
that they
who
feel.
look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're wrapping me very hard here.
Wrap
I hope
this
you
up.
got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump.
She's choking. Wrap this up. They said they wrapped. You heard them. They're making me wrap this up, and that was her people, because he went on an interview afterwards with Sean Hannity and said, her people were speeding me up, like telling me, "Come on, hurry up."
There are a lot of things.
There's more to say. I have
There
much more to
are
say,
a lot of
actually.
things that people.
She
want
has much more to say. I want y'all to pay attention to the game she's playing. Her people are behind her going, come on, she got to go right now. She talking about I got much more to say.
And your policies.
Yes.
And that's why
I invite everyone to go to KamalaHarris.com, and you will see that I have 80 pages of policies that are quite comprehensive and should be.
She don't even know what's on her page. I can guarantee you, she ain't even read that shit. She's so full of shit. She ain't got time for 30-minute interviews, but she got time for 80 pages. Listen, liars.
Accessible to anyone who would like to read them, and it includes what I intend to do about affordable housing, what I intend to do about small businesses, what I do.
And that's why we
intend to
invite
do
you
in our economy,
to see where you were in 2019 and where you are now.
America's military, and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President,
And
they're giving me a hard rap.
Well, I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean.
Damn, man. What a hard fucking crash. Just a hard crash she took on that show there. Woo! I gotta let it all out. I'll let all the steam out because she's aggravating. She's aggravating as fuck. God damn. Whew. Before we get into this next video here, see we only got a little bit of viewers here, which is fine. Like I said, I got to earn my stripes. I ain't mad. But if there are a couple viewers that are in here, do me a favor. Make sure you have your notification bell. and hit that like and let somebody else know that you're not in here alone. And don't leave me alone. Hit the chat room. No, but we're gonna go into the Stephen A. Smith stuff next here. Stephen A. Smith spoke up on Obama here, which caught me by surprise. I was not expecting it from him, but he did. So, like I said, I always get doomsday flowers, and as much as if they do something fucked up, I'm gonna speak on it as well.
To a forum of black men in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Obama spoke directly to all men who may be considering not voting or voting for Donald Trump in this election cycle. Before I go any further, I want you to hear exactly what this man had to say.
I've got a problem with that because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength. Because
what? That didn't even make sense. You're voting for someone that has a history of denigrating you because you think it's a sign of strength? What? Again, when I said these motherfuckers that went to school, man, a lot of these niggas dumb ass fucking bricks. Dumb ass fucking bricks. Just talking.
that's what being a man is? Putting women down? That's not acceptable.
Respectfully, President Obama, what you said is not acceptable.
Don't make sense.
I'm going to say it again. Respectfully, what you said is not acceptable. Not to me, not to a host of black men out there who's not even thinking about voting for Donald Trump. What you said is unacceptable. I'll tell you why in a minute. But before I do that, I want to go to Khalil Thompson, co-founder and executive director of Win with Black Men, who responded to criticism of Obama's comments. Take a look at what he had to say here. Quote, I believe President Obama is speaking to a tangible, visceral understanding of what it means for all men to relate to women in America. Calling out misogyny is not wrong. End quote.
Hey, Khalil Thompson, there's nothing to do with misogyny. Stop rubbing your man pussy, boy. Got nothing to do with it. It's got something to do. Hey, dummy, let me tell you something, Khalil. It got something to do with we ain't fucking with the Democrats. We ain't fucking with the Democrats. We ain't fucking with the Democrats. We not fucking with the Democrats. We not caring if it's Biden or Harris. We not fucking with the Democrats. Okay? Fuck, there's something wrong with these motherfuckers. They want they fucking asshole lubed up so goddamn bad by these goddamn Democrats. They want tokens. Y'all not understanding what these niggas that do this shit? They want fucking tokens.
To co-founder Khalil Thompson, you're wrong too. And what you said is unacceptable. You see, what you're missing is that you're basically accusing black men who come up with a reason to not support Kamala Harris as engaging in misogyny.
Exactly.
Whatever happened to disagreeing without being disagreeable, President Obama? What happened to that? All of a sudden, we want to challenge men and our love and our affection as black men for black women. We want to bring that into question because we've got an election coming up and people may have the temerity to think differently than you.
Exactly.
It's because she's a woman.
Exactly.
That she's in danger of losing this election. Didn't Hillary Clinton win the popular vote in 2016? Didn't she get over 2.8 million more votes than Donald Trump in the popular vote for the 2016 election?
You better be careful, Stephen A. Smith. You gonna get Kamala hopping up on your thing telling you that no blame. She gonna tell you to blame Donald Trump. I will not be surprised if he backtracks this, if he gets pressured. If hopefully he doesn't backtrack it, but I won't be surprised because this was 2 days ago he did this on his YouTube channel. I won't be surprised, or unless they're totally just gonna try to ignore him.
Last time I checked, she's a woman. Are we there sitting here and implying that black men would be more apropos to support a white woman than a black woman? Is that what we're saying?
Right.
Is that what we're saying?
You mean
it's
Masala.
A rhetorical question because it makes no sense to me. Before I go even further, let's hear more from Mr. Khalil Thompson himself. Quote, "We're not a monolith. However, we are just like every other American in this country who wants a good paying job that we can provide for our children and participate in their lives and the lives of our partner, that we can get them home safely, afford to go to the grocery store, save a little for retirement, and have a vacation." There is absolutely nothing wrong with that explanation, Khalil Thompson. Why didn't you say that from the jump? What's up with the misogyny comments? I will have you know, and President Obama, our 44th president of the United States, who I voted for not once but twice, who was the president from 2009 to 2017, who to me was exemplary, who to me had the greatest first lady in the history of this country, who has been a phenomenal role model to black people and to black men and the men across this globe. That same Barack Obama, how could you say something like that? How could you ignore the facts that are lying in front of all of us? You don't want Trump to be president. We think that Trump could be an unmitigated disaster. In my opinion, he'll be on a revenge tour. In my opinion, there's a lot of things he bloviated about and didn't deliver on. We don't want to get into too much about COVID. We don't want to get into too much about him overblowing his contribution to HBCUs, the wall that he was going to build, and the Mexican was going to pay for it. He ended up building 2% of the wall, and the Mexicans didn't pay a dime. We could get into a whole bunch of stuff about him. That's a given. I understand that. But let's get back to the part about black men. That's what we're going to talk about right now. That's what we're going to talk about. President Obama, why didn't you tell the folks with the cameras rolling and the black men in attendance that there's been diminishing black voters, particularly black men, since you were in office?
Why y'all think?
In 2008, 95% of the black populace voted for Barack Obama.
Mm-hmm.
It dipped in 2012 by about 6 to 8%. It dipped another 6% in 2016 when Hillary was running. It dipped.
Why y'all
even
think?
More in 2020 when Trump ran against Biden. It's been dipping since 2008. It didn't just start. Was that about misogyny? Was that about a hesitancy to support our women? I am getting sick and tired of black men being raked through the coals because of some imagery of not being supportive of black women. Do you know what most black men would do if they saw a black woman getting harmed in the streets? They put their lives on the line for that sister. We talked about the absence of black fathers in the past. What do we do simultaneously? We applaud the mothers who've uplifted us, who've nurtured us, who've made us into who we are. I can make an argument. No one loves women, particularly black women, more than black men. No one.
That's facts, though.
You must know this. Black men support the Democratic Party more than everyone but black women. That means we support the Democratic Party more than white women, more than white men, more than Latino women, more than Latino men, more than Asian women, more than Asian men. Nobody, in terms of percentage, supports the Democratic Party more than black people. Black women first, black men second. Even as we sit here today.
It's because blacks got caught up in the plantation. And ever since, like, the land of the information, the YouTube and other platforms, you're starting to see black men switch. There really needs to be more of a black conservative party now at this point that has more concerns for the issues for black folks. Because black folks need to be, because there's a lot that we need to conserve, especially with the display how they do our culture, right? Trying to fuck it all up. But that's the awakening that they didn't want. It's basically, you know what it is? It's the awakening. This is the shit that our grandfathers used to do, our great grandfathers and grandfathers. It was just a generation gap in the 60s with like our dads and some of our grandfathers that were born like in the 50s and 60s and shit like that. Them guys got fucking swooped into this fucking bullshit that we are now awaken out of, you know what I'm saying? And we're going back kind of where our great grandparents' generation used to be. And they don't like that shit. That's why they switched it up in the 50s and 60s and 70s, because they didn't like the mentality that black men had rule over their families, and they were building land, property. They were actually doing shit. Black folks weren't in the hood. That wasn't a fucking concept like that. That shit happened with the projects, housing projects, which were government subsidies. Motherfuckers were trying to build their own shit. Niggas wasn't acting ghetto. Your ass would go out and go get the nearest stick. Your father had plans for your ass. And your mother just sat back and was like, yep, because she knew that the discipline was right for your ass to behave better instead of out there running them streets. They ain't got no love for you. Meanwhile, these motherfucking Democrats don't do nothing but make excuses while blaming the system. Well, the system ain't there, but system. No, the system need to be starting at fucking home. Allow these parents to parent properly.
As Kamala Harris is neck and neck with Donald Trump, she's getting at least 80% of the black vote, according to the polls. And if there's a question mark about her, why don't we tell the truth? It may very well have nothing to do with her, per se, but what she has inherited. You have a president in Joe Biden who has his own history. Don't get me started with the crime bill of 1994. We want to bring up Trump in the 70s and rent control and all, and denying rent to black folks. We don't want to bring up Biden and how he got along with segregationists in the 70s.
Exactly. Got him. See, that's why I said I got to give props to Stephen A. Smith for this one. Bringing something to the table, my man. I like that, man. Bring something to the table. Okay? Call out their bullshit. Now they got to fucking read their hypocrisy. That's the type of thing that I like they are right there. What? Yo, I don't know. Stephen A. Has Stephen A. woken up? This is a different Stephen A.
We don't want to bring up how Kamala Harris, then a presidential candidate in 2020, called him out for his support of segregationists when it came to busing. We want to ignore that.
What?
You don't think black people heard that?
See? Thank you, man. Thank you. For someone with a larger platform as a black man speaking up to what us folks, the folks who ain't got the larger platform, is already what we already been thinking, bro. You think we ain't been listening, been paying attention? Thank you. Thank fucking you, Stephen A. Smith, for that. I got to give a man his flowers. We typically don't get this from him and others at their level. I appreciate that shit.
You don't think there's some trepidation in the hearts and the minds of black people from time to time? At least from the past? Not even talking about what he's done during this administration, which some people will believe his policies and his heart have been in the right place in some of their eyes. You're President Obama. How do you ignore that? Inflation, the cost of living, the price of gas, the price of groceries. That don't matter?
Exactly.
Folks ain't paying attention to that. Immigration at our borders. And this belief that there's an elevated level of sensitivity towards them, as opposed to black folks struggling, if not starving in this country. Yes, that plays a role too. I brought it up right here on this show. When the mayor of New York was talking about $53 million in prepaid credit cards for immigrants who came across our borders illegally. And
this might be the best fucking speech I heard Stephen A. Smith do. Dude is going in. The brother, hey, gotta give Stephen his props here.
Prepaid credit cards for them. And I said, wait a minute, black folks been starving for years. We ain't get that.
Facts.
You don't think they notice? You don't think they notice?
Hey, I want y'all to also notice these brothers are listening to the YouTubers, man. That's why I keep saying this shit is spreading like, why do you think they trying to censor us? Why do you think they don't? You should say some words. Those words are divisive, and we gonna turn the page on those words. Why y'all think they having this attitude? This shit's spreading like wildfire. Wildfire. Why you think I don't hate on bigger YouTubers that just because they got a bigger platform and we spreading the same message and y'all not watching me, watching them? I don't do that. Because to me, it's about the fucking message. As long as more people are waking the fuck up and we can see the results, shit. That's the whole goddamn goal. I'm loving it.
Possible that the only reason some black folks, not me, but some black folks may not be inclined to vote, or they may be a bit disenchanted, or dare I say may even be willing to go as far as voting for Trump. Is it possible that it's policy?
Right.
As opposed to misogyny?
Exactly.
Is it possible?
Nope.
That they've looked at the Democratic Party
not possible.
that is locked in on addressing or not addressing
yeah, right.
immigration and folks crossing the borders illegally, and have prioritized focusing on that along with other issues, identity politics and beyond. That has become such a focal point that has turned off folks.
Yep.
In the African American community.
Yo, this nigga, Stephen A. Smith came up with them uppercuts. What the fuck happened to him? What the fuck happened to Stephen A. Smith? Because this ain't the old Stephen A. Smith, they Stephen A. Smithin', as they say. This is Stephon Smith. This nigga talking.
Most, not all, just some. Is that possible? And is it possible that that is the reason why even Kamala Harris herself has become a bit more assertive in addressing the issue of immigration, in addressing the economy, in addressing a plan for Black America as opposed as it pertains to facilitating more business loans?
That plan was garbage.
For minority ownership and things of that ilk. Is it possible that black folks, particularly black men, more so than the black women, who you look at Roe v. Wade and the women's rights and what have you, and Trump's position, he's got no chance in hell of luring them in. But is it possible that when it comes to the men are saying, wait a minute, get all that, but what you gonna do for us? Could it be the issues as opposed to just misogyny? You know the answer to that question better than me, Barack Obama. The right may have a problem with you. Folks on the left, Democrats, progressives, you're revered. As a black man who is an independent, you are an incredible role model and somebody that I have admired for years. But to say that to black men, to attribute their hesitancy, their reluctance, their reticence to support Kamala Harris, to you just don't want to support a woman, really? Respectfully, sir, that's messed up.
He wasn't even sure when he said it. Like you see when you watch the video, his body language was just off. He was so unconfident. He knew he didn't make no fucking sense.
That's a messed up thing to accuse black men of.
Exactly.
When you know good and damn well there are a plethora of reasons for us to point to.
Which goes to show you that they ain't listening to us. They just want to give us lollipops, weed.
To justify our apprehension. Doesn't mean you ain't gonna vote for her. Doesn't mean you don't want her to win. But my Lord, is it a crime to not be ultra excited when you see some of the choices that are before us and you see the decisions that have been made and the messages that have been disseminated? A black man asking, what about us, is not a crime. It's not misogyny. It's us exercising our rights as American citizens to question why you should have our support, which you yourself as the president for 8 years told us we had every right to do.
Got him.
That's all I'm going to say for now.
I want to see something quick before I leave here. There's a thing on my right that says lefties losing it. It was posted 3 days ago. They actually used my title. I used that on a short a few months back. Lefties losing it. And it got some views. I wonder, did they steal my title? But anyways, it says lefties losing it. Black voters hit out on Barack Obama. I'm going to click this for a second, see what the fuck it is.
Now it's time for Lefties Losing It, and let's start with the many accents of Chameleon Kamala. She can go from Ivy League to the ghetto.
So friends, 64 days. Let's just get through the next 64 days.
She's even pulled out a little Latino heat in recent weeks, but I believe this may be the first time she's tried a Jamaican accent.
Have you no empathy, man? You know, for the suffering of other people. Have you no sense of purpose?
She's so authentic, so likable and confident.
What the fuck? Why is Cringe-Mala? Cringe-Mala.
You know, for the suffering of other people.
And that wasn't Jamaican coming out. If you actually listen, that was her Indian coming out. Here, listen. That was an Indian coming out.
You know, for the suffering of other people. Have you no sense of purpose?
She's so authentic, so likable and confident. Of course, I jest. Now, Kamala has a man problem, and it's not just Doug, knock him out, Emhoff. No, he's not the only one causing her headaches. But the fact that so many American men, including black men, do not want to vote for her. Now, the reasons are numerous. They're real and valid reasons. But of course, the simplistic take is that these men must be sexist. Here is Barack Obama lecturing the brothers, as he calls them, on why they must back Kamala.
We have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that more pronounced with the brothers.
He then went on to lecture them about why they must pick Kamala and why any reluctance
you niggas didn't come out and come vote for Kamala out to the field the same way you did for me. Slaves, you're supposed to come out and do the same support. Y'all weren't supposed to wake up. Y'all supposed to go out there and, think the same way you did 16 years ago. Or how many years? How many years ago since Barack? I said 16 years ago. What, Barack was 08 and 12? So yeah, that's been a minute.
Must be due to what sexist, misogynist monsters they are.
You just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what...
You know what the funny thing even about this is? All them niggas he talking to, he ain't shaming them. He's really just trying to talk to us because all them niggas is down with the Democrats. Them all bussy boys.
Being a man is putting women down. That's not acceptable.
Now, that little rant inspired some feedback from members of the black community, male and female.
I want Barack Obama and every Democrat out there to know, you do not own black people. We are not slaves. Our chains are gone. We do not owe
I thought she said something
anything.
else.
And we don't have to give you an account for how we choose to vote.
Right.
The Democrats that unleashed Barack Obama into the wild to shame us black men for not supporting Kamala Harris, despite the fact that she's yet to unveil any policies that represent our interests. But if it was a white politician shaming other white men for not voting based on identity politics, y'all would call him racist. Why is it okay for Barack Obama, Kamala Harris, and all these other people that supposedly look like me, why is it okay for them to get on TV and shame me for not voting for them simply because they look like me? That's racist, brother.
Facts.
I don't know how else to put it. That is racism. I don't have to vote for Kamala because she's quote unquote black. Just like I shouldn't have voted for yo because you got up there, you tap dance for the establishment, and you ain't do a goddamn for the black people that put you in office. You brother.
You ain't did a thing for us in the 8 years that you was in the White House.
Good job.
And you think you gonna pop up during an election year and try to scold?
What did I say earlier? I told you there's an awakening, didn't I? I said there's even some black women waking the fuck up and turning around, didn't I? What a beautiful sight to see.
Black men for not wanting to vote for your candidate? Have you lost mind?
I spent 7 years of my life fighting your administration, you and Biden, by the way, for my husband's military benefits. My daughter died because of Obamacare. I don't give a about you.
This message is for President Obama. First and foremost, you're not going to tell me what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. Number one, I ain't going to vote for...
This is why they mad. This is why they're mad. See, it ain't just black men, it's black women, but they know they got a bunch of them little ditzy HBCU bitches that they can cover over and make it seem like this is what majority of black women are saying. We got black women on their side. Meanwhile, they're trying to put a muzzle on actual black women that a lot have woken the fuck up. And they're trying to keep you distracted with these ditzy bitches. I'm educated, but they ain't got fucking a nickel in their fucking brain to rub. They don't like this. Seeing blacks of both genders, they're not used to this. They don't give a fuck no more about the Democratic Party. I'm loving
Kamala
it.
Harris. I think that she's going to make a bad president. She's a bad vice president. Everything she does, she tries to politicize it. And she hasn't shown the fact that she wants to put America first ever. So I'm not voting for that individual.
What you thought you was doing, Barack Obama? Boy, you didn't step out there. All you did was black men off, bro. All you did was
black men off. Why y'all think the American people why y'all think the Democrat Party own black folk?
Right.
The Democrat Party don't own black folks, bruh. What you thought you was doing with that? We see the play. We know, we see the play. Kamala Harris is losing. She's not gonna win.
The audacity of you to say to us that we are required and we better vote for Kamala Harris and that we don't want to see a woman in a position of power. You're a liar.
That's just a sample, folks. Plenty more where that came from. Now let's check in with the man who Kamala Harris handpicked as her running mate, Tim Walz. Here, Tim tries to reload a gun. This is the man they picked to inject masculinity and country vibes into the campaign. They set up this contrived hunt to showcase that masculinity and gun prowess. It's not working out too well there. That is just appalling stuff.
All right, y'all. Let me make my way up out of here. Appreciate those who did come through and watched it. To those who watch it, please do a favor, hit that notification bell and leave me a comment in the description box. Down in the comment section. I'll catch you guys next show. Until then, y'all have a great Thursday. You have a